Hey, you're listening to the right episode. If you wanted to hear what Merrily Brown is doing to grow and regrow her business this year with big results, I'm your host, Steve Kiles. You're listening to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. Hey, and I've got a great one of our members is with us today, and I'm excited to have Merrily Brown. You know, I wanted to highlight you, Merrily. By the way, it's great to have you on the podcast. What's up, girl?
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I see you almost every morning. The Loan Officer Breakfast Club, for those of you who are new to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, Frank Gray, our good friend, hosts the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, and you can learn more about it at loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. It's literally a roundtable for loan officers, hundreds of loan officers every Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 9 a.m. Eastern. And I see you all the time there. And you know what has been so fun is you're one of our members here with the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And, you know, Carl and I get the numbers of what our loan officers are doing each and every month because we're really invested in your success. And, you know, the reason why I love seeing your success. Let me tell our members a little bit about, like, in January, I hope you don't mind me just sharing your numbers, but I think it's encouraging for
Well, let's
people.
not talk about January.
Well, that's why I think it's going to be encouraging is that
Okay.
we're going to have a great conversation around what you've done to rebuild your business. In January, you funded 0. February, you did 4. In March, you did 5. In April, you did 11. In May, you did 10. You're going to fund another 10 or so this month. And I just think in short order from 0 to, let's just call it 10, is a big deal. And I would love, and I know our listeners are saying, okay, hey, we're in the same boat. You know, you got veterans that were closing 10, 20 loans a month, literally feeling like they're starting over. So I said, well, somebody who's actually done it in the last 120 days, I say, let's talk. So welcome to the podcast, Merrily.
Great. Thanks.
Hey, so tell us your journey. Where are you out of? So what state are you out of?
I'm in the great state of Texas. Yeah.
Texas. Hey, where you at? We're at in Texas.
San Antonio.
Oh, my girl. You're
I'm
just
not
down
too
the
far
road.
from you. I'm
You're,
not too far from you.
you are not far. And so, hey, so tell us how long you've been in the business and you're with Empire. What a great, and you guys are actually brokers. And so not independent mortgage bankers. Love Norm and the entire team at Empire. How long you been in the business?
So I've been in the business 9 years.
Okay.
Started out I started out as a broker. I had my own marketing company for like 27 years.
Okay.
And I went to go call on this company who happened to be a mortgage broker. And I said, I was wanting to do marketing. He goes, you know, you'd make a great loan officer. And I go, well, what's that? So got into the business. It was not a great experience at all. I moved from being in that broker. I learned what I could in 2 years' time, and then went to go work for a mortgage banker. Loved working, for a banker. It was a local to San Antonio. Had a great 7 years there, but then the market kind of changed. Luckily, I had started coaching with the Freedom Club. And when the market kind of changed and I was starting to lose business due to rate, I knew I needed to make a change. So I was being coached by Coach Susie at the time. And she helped, connect me with people that were in mortgage marketing animals.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. I got to talk to other mortgage bankers, correspondent lenders, and I had told her, no brokers. And so finally, when I realized that these other mortgage bankers were kind of going through the same thing that I was going through, and some of them were really good, and I was almost there, ready to sign to leave. I told Susie, okay, tell me who you have as brokers. And she connected me. She didn't really know much about Empire Financial either, but she connected me through one of her past employees. And she was on the call with me talking to the owners. And because they were coached also by mortgage marketing animals, I didn't look any further. I said, okay, this is where I need to be.
Well, I love it. Hey, and Norm's a great group. Yeah.
I made that switch because we were all like like-minded. You guys talk about like-minded and like-hearted, and they were definitely like-hearted with me, and
Yeah.
they knew my philosophy of what I was trying to accomplish with the DSP and everything. And so, boom, made that transition last November.
Okay.
And I think that because I went through a transition, and I also went a transition, I started with coaching with Coach Rick in end of December, first part of
Yeah.
January. So my first month with Coach Rick, it was like, well, how many loans you closing this month? And I go, 0.
Woo.
It's like,
Well, hey,
okay, girl,
and I
let's
think
roll up our
January,
sleeves and get going. So
that's it. Well, hey, and I think everybody had an awakening in December and January. I think a lot of people saw numbers they haven't seen in a long time. So here you are, you cross into January, you're throwing up a goose egg, which is always, as a loan officer, you're like, whoo, no, it's been a long time since we had a goose egg. So what do you do first? Like what, okay, you roll up your sleeves. What does that look like? What helped you go from 0 to literally averaging 10 in about 90 to 120 days?
well, obviously, the first thing is the daily success plan. I mean, that's just a major, major winner. I think out of those days of what do you do and what you focus on the most
Yeah.
was I was calling any realtor that I had ever done business with,
Hmm.
and in the past 7, 8 years. So I got on the phone, and that's what I was spending my time. I wasn't trying to find new realtors
Hmm.
necessarily, because I was starting in a completely new business, what it felt like. But I called anybody that I'd done business with. I also contacted my entire past database to let them know that I was making a change and that there were new things happening. And of course, ask them if you have any friends, family, or coworkers. I'd love to help take care of them. I'm now a broker, really pitching it and just starting to call any realtors and all in my past database.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
and
and
plus any friends, my circle
yeah,
of influence, so.
how many outbound calls you think you were making a week? Like what do you think the average is? Did you have a number you were trying to target?
I was trying to hit 100,
100
100 calls
outbound
per week.
calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And,
I think I definitely was making 100, you know, 100 calls for sure.
and you
And I
started that in January?
So I started that in November.
Wow.
I was making the change, and
Yep.
so I kind of slacked off in October because I was trying to figure out where I was going to go. And
Hmm.
then by November, when I made the switch, boom, I started that very first week and just really just worked real hard through November, December. Um, by it just started coming back in February.
Wow.
I mean,
So
December, I closed, I think 8 or 9 in December.
yeah.
So, but that was all because in October, I was doing what I needed to do in October. And then I kind of slacked off in November for a good reason.
Making a transition.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
so you're making,
when you do the work,
yeah.
the results come. It just happens.
Well, we always say at Merrily that you're not trying to test if the process in the system works. It's testing whether or not you'll do the work. And so we have something that we call the daily success plan. And what we hear all the time is somebody says, well, if I knew what to do, I would just do it, but I don't know what to do. And that's what I love about what we're doing at the Marketing Animals and in the Freedom Club, where you've got a coach literally helping to hold you accountable each and like every other week. You're on a call and you're checking in and you're seeing, did I do the right activity that moves the needle? Hey, and so if somebody's listening and you say, hey, I need help, I need a plan, I need a coach, I need something, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to just walk you through 45 minutes of helping you build a plan and then giving you something you can literally execute today. Freedomplanningcall.com. So Merrily, yeah,
Steve, one of the things about doing the DSP, I went to boot camp a year ago and I
okay,
learned all about the DSP.
yeah,
And to be honest with you, I mean, okay, yep, here's what you do. Here's the vehicle that you do. But it wasn't, I mean, I could have done that on my own. And even going to Loan Officer Breakfast Club every morning, that's a huge motivator for me because it's each day, okay, what
mhm,
am I going to do today? And it kind of powers me up and juices me up. So going to Loan Officer Breakfast Club is major. But having the twice a month coaching calls,
Hmm.
to kind of be my mechanic that kind of tunes up whatever I'm doing. I couldn't do it without that. I really couldn't. I mean, I started out with, all these great tools, but until I really got into the coaching and the loan officer breakfast club, and the other big component is boot camp is major. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody needs to do boot camp, but the Freedom Club allows us to have these great Freedom Club events. And every single Freedom Club event, I have made so many great connections. You would
Mm.
think when you go to that you would oh, these are all my competitors. That's not it. It's like you're meeting family. Don't we call it like family reunion?
That's it.
That
100%.
is what it feels like. And I have made such great connections with people there that they encourage me. They give me little tweaks. They're sending me marketing materials. Hey, here's what I did, change it up and use it for yourself. It's like, wow, that
Yeah.
is so invaluable. Uh, It, I couldn't do I mean, the DSP is good. Loan Officer Breakfast Club is good. Those are all free things, right? But having the coaching and having those Freedom Club events, I have some friends that went through hard times and they stopped coaching.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, I was tempted in January to like, okay, I didn't get paid. How am I gonna, I need to quit coaching. And I don't know, I just knew that was the one thing I could not cut out. And
Mm.
so I have friends, they go, wow, you stuck with the coaching. I go, yeah, I couldn't afford not to do it because
Mm.
it's what helped powered me. And so now they're like, okay, I'm going to sign up again. Yeah, absolutely. Sign up again. That you need to be involved with the coaching. You
I
can't
love it.
afford not to.
Well, hey, Merrily, you know what it does? It helps us see our blind spots. It's so we are doing the business all day long and we're pushing. And what happens is you have to just come up for air and say, okay, all right, I'm pushing. What levers need to be adjusted now? What do you see that I can't see right now? And what it does, it's kind of like being at a beach. If you've ever been at the beach with your kids, they start out in front of you, but literally 5 minutes later, they're like a quarter mile down the beach because of the current. And if there wasn't something centering them to where they're at on the beach, like where you stake in your chair and your umbrella, then they wouldn't even know that they've drifted. And that's what I love about this community. If somebody's listening, and I love that you said that, like even the family reunion, we've got a Freedom Club event here in Asheville. When you're a Freedom Club member, it's free. All you got to do is get your flight and hotel. When you're a Freedom Club member, the boot camps are free. Get your flight and hotel. And it's like all of these things combined are what really help you. It's not like you can say, hey, it's just one thing. It's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 50 because of the relationships, because of the process, because of being immersed in something that has proven results. So if you're listening and you say, man, that's really interesting to me, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'll talk to you about the boot camp. We'll talk to you about Freedom Club. We'll talk to you about the Freedom Club family reunions that happen, like we're about to have in Asheville, North Carolina, just this next month, which is super exciting to be with several hundred of the best LOs across the country together. And so,
I learned something. I think it was the Nashville Freedom Club event that has stuck with me and that I've incorporated. Just one small little tweak. And I can't remember who it was that got up and spoke, but she was talking about anybody that ended up going with another lender. You
oh,
treat
yeah,
them
yeah,
as a past client, you put them on your past client database. So I did that. I have somebody that I worked with, got her pre-qualified, worked, even went under contract, and something happened with the property, and we ended up terminating the contract. Well, she ended up going with a builder. Well, this builder, I mean, I couldn't compete. I mean, they were giving her $15,000. I mean, I couldn't even do it for free. And trust me, I've done loans for free just to get my team paid, right?
yeah, yeah.
But I couldn't do it for free. And so she closed. I was so excited for her. I sent her a closing gift when she closed at that new build. She has sent me like 4 of her families or
Wow.
relatives.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to get that loan when it's time to refi.
Mm.
So, and I learned that at a Freedom Club event. And I've just incorporated it in. It's like anybody I know that's gone somewhere else, I treat them as a past client. That's the kind of stuff that's worth probably $10,000, $20,000.
Oh,
to me,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
at
and just that
least.
one idea from an event.
One idea,
Yeah, yeah.
one idea.
Well, and hey, listen, you know what's so impressive is that you've literally jumped in with both feet and you've continued to just show up day in and day out. And your faithfulness, I think we forget, and Carl and I were literally just talking about it. We just jumped off of a Zoom call and we were talking about this. Um, so much of it starts with discipline. There's three things that we keep hovering around. Number one, discipline, which the discipline to show up, the discipline to take action, the discipline to say, enough is enough, the discipline to say, hey, you know what? I don't want to make my calls and I don't want to meet with qualified agents and I don't want to build my Focus 40. But the discipline to say, regardless of whether I feel like it, I'm going to show up. That discipline over time, Merrily, turns into desire. And it's like when you're working out and you've gotten 9 months into working out, it's like I don't have to wake up and say, man, oh gosh, I got to go work out. You're like, dude, it's time to go. My body's saying, let's go. And then over time, that discipline turns into desire and that desire turns into devotion. And when we're fully devoted to our businesses because we know the why and the results matter, then that's when we've got a significant business. And that's what you've really done since November of this last year, which is what, 6 months. In the last 6 months, it's like you're doing an about face and you started with discipline, then you pulled back a little bit and you're like, whoa, it really works. I got to keep pushing. So then you lean in and in short order, we're talking in 90 days of leaning in from January, in February and March, and there you are back into double digits. And I just think it's so powerful. If we've got anybody listening today and you say, man, today's the day, today is the day it stops, and I'm going to take discipline, number one, to take action, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'll walk you through the plan. Number two is I'm going to do it long enough to have desire, and that desire will turn into devotion. And Merrily, you're such a great example of it. You just show up every day, and you play big. And so, hey, let me ask you this. What did you do? And this is a real question. Encourage our listeners who may say, man, I'm working. I don't feel like I'm getting the results I need or want, and I'm getting discouraged. How would you encourage them?
So,
Did you ever feel discouraged, and how did you keep
oh, for
breaking through?
sure, for sure. Yeah. Especially when you see where you want to be and you know, well, I've got to go this step. And it just like, you're either stubborn or you just want to give up, that kind of thing. I told this story on the Breakfast Club, a couple of weeks ago. We used to have I used to live out on a farm, and we had this one creek that you had to cross to get into the green field, to get to the oats, and the cows loved it. And the cows would just run through the creek to get there. But we had a donkey, and the donkey would not cross that creek. I don't know, just wouldn't do it. So we ended up putting a bag over the donkey's head. And then, because I pulled and pulled and pulled, trying to get that donkey across the river, we put the bag over the donkey's head. The donkey couldn't see the creek anymore. And we crossed it across the creek, pulled the bag off, and that donkey just danced and frolicked in the green grass. Well, I've been discouraged. And I just sort of had to like put the bag over my head and just do exactly what I needed to do. Take those steps. Don't look at what's scaring you, and just do it. You are probably my biggest encourager. You'd say, just do it. You just got to do it. And I have it on my calendar every day from 9 to 11. I'm making my outbound calls. I'm just doing it. So, you get discouraged, but it doesn't matter. You can be discouraged. Just make that first call. A lot of times you get this call reluctance, which Carl has this great book, but so many times you go, the hardest part is making that first call. But once you get through that first call, the rest are easy. So just commit to making that first call at 9 o'clock and say, okay, even if that first call ends up, and I think that's how I talked myself into it. If that first call goes bad, then I can make a decision if I'm going to make the second one. But you know what? That first call is always good. And it's always easy. And once you talk to that first person, everything it's like all of a sudden you go, wow, it's 11 o'clock already. I've done this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just wonderful. And then you're charged up to do it again the next day.
Life-changing results. Hey, and that's what I love too. We've really restructured the order of those calls, like especially like on Monday, and every day you're making calls, like even on Tuesday, Just Ask Tuesday updates. Who doesn't want to hear from you to know where the file's at? Wednesday, database calls. The purposes are gratitude. Thursday, pre-approved and looking. You're checking in. All of these calls, even on our Realtor Monday, where we're doing our Focus 40 first, these are agents already know, like, and trust you. They're already working with you. Then you got your post coffee. They've already met with you. And then if you're looking to grow, you're doing your pre-coffee Thor's Hammer calls. And even the order of how you're making the calls matters, because half the battle is, like, I know for like me, when I'm working out, all I got to do is, if my feet hit the ground and I can roll out, I'm on it. Like it's not even a question. It's just the feet hitting the ground. And so that's what we're doing, is feet hitting the ground from first call to follow up. And so, Merrily, thank you for just your leadership and what you're doing and leading the way, and just being a great contributor in the Breakfast Club and the Freedom Club. And I'm excited to see you in Asheville. So it's going
Yeah.
to be
Well, I'm
fun.
going to see you at boot camp this
Yeah.
month. I'm going to boot camp. So
Well, then I'll see you next week. It's going to be a great one. And
yeah.
so if you want to know about the boot camp or Freedom Club events or the Freedom Club coaching, go to freedomplanningcall.com. Freedomplanningcall.com will walk you through it all. Myself, Carl, Frank, Tammy, one of us will jump on a call and just help walk you through it. So thank you for being a part of the community. Merrily, thank you. It's so great to have you.
Oh, no, thank you. You guys have changed my life. You really have.
Well, you've done the work and we've come alongside. So it's a great partnership. Hey, and listen, if you're listening today and you know two loan officers who need to hear this encouraging podcast, text it to them, share it with them. Make sure you're subscribed so that you get it every Wednesday night and Saturday, when the 2 episodes every week release. Also, if this podcast is impacting you and helping make a difference, give us a review. Tell us how it's helping you in your business grow. We'd love for you to share the review. That always helps us. And so thank you for being a part of the Loan Officer Leadership community and the Mortgage Marketing Animals family. Remember this: anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.